In a peaceful town surrounded by golden meadows and rolling hills lived a girl named Mira. She had bright blue eyes, hair the color of honey, and a laugh that sounded like little bells. Mira loved exploring, but more than anything she loved stories. She would sit with her grandmother under the willow tree by the stream and listen to tales of faraway lands, hidden kingdoms, and magical creatures. One day, while playing near the meadow, Mira discovered a curious object half buried in the grass. It was a compass, but unlike any she had seen before. Instead of pointing north, its needle spun gently and then stopped, pointing toward the hills. She turned it in her hands, fascinated, when suddenly the compass glowed faintly. The glow spread into the air, forming a faint trail of light leading toward the hills. Mira's heart beat faster. She knew this was the beginning of something extraordinary. She packed a small satchel with bread, cheese, and her sketchbook, then followed the glowing trail. The hills seemed ordinary at first, covered with wildflowers and butterflies dancing in the sun. But as she walked, the hills grew taller and the air cooler. At last, she reached a grove of trees unlike any she had ever seen. Their leaves shimmered like glass, catching the sunlight and scattering it into rainbows. In the center of the grove was a stone arch covered with vines, and at its top was carved a star that matched the one on her compass. As Mira stepped closer, the compass pulsed with light. The arch shimmered like water, and before she could think twice, Mira stepped through. The world blurred for a moment, and when she opened her eyes, she stood in a place so beautiful it stole her breath. She was in the Valley of Wonders. The grass sparkled as though sprinkled with stardust, and flowers hummed gentle tunes. Rivers ran with water clear as crystal, and butterflies with wings like stained glass drifted lazily in the sky. The air smelled of honey and pine, and far in the distance, mountains shone as if dusted with silver. Mira's compass needle pointed ahead, so she followed. Along the way, she met creatures she had never seen before. Rabbits with antlers that bowed politely as she passed, birds that whistled entire songs instead of simple chirps, and tiny foxes that ran in pairs, leaving glowing paw prints on the grass. Mira sketched everything in her notebook, amazed at how alive the world felt. After hours of walking, she heard a faint giggle. Following the sound, she found a small creature sitting on a rock. It was no taller than her knee, with wings like dragonflies and eyes that twinkled like stars. The creature introduced itself as Luma, a sprite of the valley. Luma was mischievous but kind, and when Mira explained she was following the compass, Luma gasped. "That compass," Luma said in a voice like chimes, "belonged to the Star Wanderer. It can only appear to those with a true heart. It means you've been chosen to find the hidden treasures of the valley." Mira's eyes widened, but excitement outweighed her doubts. She asked what treasures Luma meant, and the sprite explained that long ago, the valley was filled with magical tokens that kept the land alive. The pearl of rivers, the blossom of seasons, and the feather of winds. Over time, they had been scattered across the valley. "If you find them," Luma said, "the valley will sing again in its fullest beauty." Mira agreed at once. With Luma fluttering at her side, she set off toward her first destination, the River of Glass. The compass needle glowed brighter, leading her to its sparkling waters. The river was unlike any she had seen. Instead of rippling, it shone like a mirror, reflecting the sky perfectly. Fish swam below the glassy surface, glowing like lanterns. At the center of the river, on a small island, rested the Pearl of Rivers. Mira wondered how she would reach it when a great swan appeared. Its feathers shimmered with silver, and its eyes were kind. Mira bowed politely, and the swan knelt to let her climb on its back. Together, they glided across the mirror-like water to the island. Mira picked up the pearl, which glowed warmly in her hands, and slipped it into her satchel. The swan bowed once more before drifting away. Mira whispered her thanks, and the river rippled happily, its songs returning. The journey continued. Mira and Luma traveled through forests of giant mushrooms that glowed at night, meadows where the flowers whispered riddles, and hills where the grass turned golden under the moon. Everywhere she went, the compass guided her. In the Forest of Seasons, She found the blossom of seasons hidden within a tree that changed from spring to summer to autumn to winter with every turn. She plucked the blossom gently, and the forest filled with color and song again. Her last journey was to the Mountain of Winds, where the Feather of Winds rested at the very top. The climb was long, and the air grew thin, but Mira's determination never wavered. With Luma's encouragement, she reached the peak. There, in a nest woven of clouds, lay a single feather that shimmered in all colors of the sky. When she picked it up, the wind whirled joyfully around her, lifting her hair and carrying laughter through the valley below. With all three treasures, Mira returned to the grove at the heart of the valley. The compass glowed so brightly it rose into the air, spinning in delight. The pearl, the blossom, and the feather lifted from her satchel and floated above the grove. Light spread across the Valley of Wonders, brighter than the sun, gentler than the moon. The rivers danced with music, the forests bloomed with endless life, and the winds sang through the mountains. The valley had been restored. Creatures gathered from every corner. Antlered rabbits, glowing foxes, silver swans, and countless others. They bowed to Mira, thanking her for her courage and kindness. Luma hugged her tightly, saying, "You are now part of the valley forever. Whenever you wish to return, the compass will guide you." When Mira stepped back through the stone arch, she found herself once more in the meadow near her village. The compass rested warmly in her palm, its needle pointing home. She looked back, and for a moment, she thought she saw the shimmer of rainbow leaves and heard the faint giggle of her friend Luma. From that day on, Mira kept the compass safe. She knew that whenever the world felt ordinary, she could follow its glow back to the Valley of Wonders. And so she lived with joy and curiosity, for she carried the secret of an extraordinary land within her heart. And sometimes, when the wind blew just right, she could hear the valley whispering, "Thank you, Mira.